We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. I'm Robyn Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We are on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the restaurant industry talking about subjects trending in the restaurant business. Tweet your own questions on the topic while we are on the air to our Twitter handle, Sell Restaurants, or post them on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com, We Sell Restaurants. If we don't get to your question, we'll follow up on social media.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas or any comments for the show, you can email me. My email is simple. It's Eric, E-R-I-C, at WeSellRestaurants.com.
Today, we're getting the scoop on Hell's Kitchen. The American reality television competition has been on for 13 seasons. Chef Gordon Ramsay puts 18 aspiring chefs through an intense culinary academy to prove they have what it takes to win the grand prize. Today, we have chefs that have been in the spotlight as Hell's Kitchen contestants. What actually goes on in that kitchen? What happens after the taping ends to these chefs, and what are the next steps in their career? Do they have advice for would-be Hell's Kitchen contestants?
And for that today, we have our first guest, who's going to be Chef Richard Mancini. Chef Mancini is quite at home in the kitchen. He has been a chef to a host of stars, including the Rolling Stones, U2, INXS, and the crew of Air Force One, the movie crews for Chain Reaction, My Best Friend's Wedding, and more. Chef Mancini has appeared on prestigious cooking shows as well. He was on Chef's Wanted with Anne Burrell, where he won the title in Season 1, was most recently on Hell's Kitchen in 2013. After an 11-year stint as an acclaimed restaurant owner, Chef Rich is getting back to what fills his heart, catering to people directly. Whether it's an in-home catering, or corporate party, the service is sure to satisfy with Chef Rich in the kitchen. Chef Mancini, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we are also joined by Chef Frank Bilotti. Frank, a native son who hails from Grant City, is an executive chef from Staten Island, New York. His signature dish is filet mignon with shallot, fig chutney, and gremolata. Frank graduated from the Johnson & Wales University with an Associate of Arts and Sciences degree and has been a master creator ever since. He has been the executive chef for Ben 5 Restaurant as well as Casa Belvedere, along with his stint in Hell's Kitchen. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
And our last guest today is Robyn Almadovar. Chef Robyn grew up in Staten Island, New York, the youngest of her mother's children. Coming from a half Puerto Rican, half Italian background, her childhood was filled with culture, vibrancy, and a deeply ingrained passion for food. At 23, Robyn started a new venture to become a cosmetologist and enrolled at cosmetology school. It wasn't long before the culinary sirens called her back to the kitchen, and Robyn decided to finally follow her heart. She has worked at several restaurants in South Florida, including The Forge and Danny DeVito's, before obtaining an executive sous chef position at the Royal Palm Hotel. After working at the Royal Palm for nearly a year, Robyn felt she was missing her heat in the kitchen again. She parted ways, started her own venture by purchasing a 24-foot mobile cafe, also known as a food truck. That's when Palette Party was born. Chef Robyn is raising the bar. She is a culinary artist and a fan favorite on Hell's Kitchen. She used her passion and prepares each dish with love. Thank you, Chef Almadovar, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So the premise of this show is that there are 20 chefs vying to win the series. Each of you, tell us about your experience, your season, and your best and worst performance on the show. Hey, Frank, start us off.
Oh, wow. Best and worst. Well, the best, let's go with the worst. I think the worst was choosing that as the signature dish. That dish I did maybe 2 or 3 times. And, it's a beautiful dish. It's delicious. I like to be creative, kind of deconstruct things. And the whole bone marrow thing, I'm still fighting with that one.
It sounds like you still have nightmares.
Oh, yeah. But, I don't know. I thought that bone marrow was fine, but it's hard to argue with a chef. So whatever he says, I'm all for it. You know.
Yeah. How about you, Robyn? What's your story on that?
The best and worst out of Hell's Kitchen?
Yes.
I want to say the best is having the once-in-a-lifetime experience. There's many people out there that can say they beat how many people? Hundreds of thousands of people to get onto this show and to show you creativity and, of course, to show your stupid side, because that's what we all did. And I think the worst part about Hell's Kitchen is basically staying out of your mind. You're dealing with so many stresses from the 3 chefs, from your other fellow contestants, but the only one who could beat you is yourself. And just staying out of your mind is like the best thing, but it's like the worst thing. It's the thing that's going to bring you down if you're always in your head on the show.
Richard, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with all the statements. I guess my best thing was actually have a one-on-one with Chef Ramsey, be able to sit there and ask him some questions. And I think the worst thing was the night you go home because you miscounted a Brussels sprout. Instead of 6, you set up 5, and you get your butt kicked off the show. But I think the other part of it is living with 20 people in a little dorm room with 2 bathrooms and a couple showers and just trying to have all 20 personalities mesh.
Wow.
You mean the 3 showers that are there, but we're only letting
yeah, right, that are full of stuff and everybody's underwear and everything else is everywhere, so...
Well,
you also mean when all the bathrooms are filled up and you try to go downstairs to use a restroom in the restaurant and you're not allowed?
Yeah, that's the part, yeah.
As well? Because I had that experience.
That's some great reality. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about your life, each one of your life before the show. You know, did you get up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to go and apply to be a contestant on Hell's Kitchen? And then, then you obviously all of you got on the show, and then, the life after. So, Richard, why don't you start with you? How did that become about up to the show and then after the show?
Well, I was in Canada with my son. My son played junior hockey up in Canada. I was up for a tournament, and I was just cruising online one day, and I seen that they were casting, so I sent over a resume. Had no intentions of really making it. I mean, in reality, we're part of only 400 people that have, and not even 300 people that have been on the show out of hundreds of thousands that have auditioned. So we're in a very small, unique community. All the chefs that made the show. And I sent the resume out, and like 15 minutes later, I get a call back that I had to be back in Chicago on Monday to go talk to this casting guy. And, my life was good. I had a great job. I cater all over city Chicago. I mean, I wasn't looking for anything. I just threw it out there just to see what happens, and it stuck. And since the show, it's been out of control. I mean, between going to do demos and being asked to do appearances and the private chef stuff has been over the top. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's hard to even describe because people don't believe it when you do it, when you describe it. But I mean, I'm not sure about the other guys. They're new on the season, but I've been off. My season was a year ago, and it's off the hook. So
a jump starter for your career. How about you, Frank?
Well, I'm currently on the show still.
Right.
So how I'm looking at it as prior to being casted, I went to a hospitality ball in Long Island, which is an unbelievable event. And I bumped into Chef Barrett Baer. And I started talking to him. I was like, listen, I'm a chef over in Staten Island. And a lot of people always said, "Oh, why don't you do a TV show? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" And I used to get requests to do it all the time from casting people, and I was so involved in my restaurant at the time, I just kept on pushing it off. But when he described it to me, he's like, "Listen, just shoot me an email tomorrow, just give me a resume, and we'll see what happens."
Love that.
I completely forgot to do it. Long story short, he gets in touch with me, and I was like, "Wow, all right, now I have to."
Absolutely.
So he sent me over to these casting directors, these twins, awesome girls, and after that whole interview process, from that point in my life, it was very surreal, because you're living a whole nother life up, like on the set. You're living everybody's life, I think, at once.
And Robyn, do you agree?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to ask Robyn to weigh in and give us her thoughts as well.
I agree. I agree with both of them. My life definitely was. I was a yacht chef, executive sous chef of a hotel. I currently own a food truck now in South Florida. I bought my food truck before I went on the show. My season was 3 years ago, and I'm still getting noticed from 3 years ago everywhere I go. Like, the show is on all over the world, so we're world known. Our face is seen in China, Japan, South Africa, Italy. We all have fans all over the world, and that's such a warm feeling that no one could ever express unless you're in that or in those shoes. Me, Hell's Kitchen has definitely helped lead my career. Like I said, I bought my food truck before, so it was already open and established for a year before the show aired. Once the show aired, it was just more publicity. I hired a PR. We pushed it, got as much in the media. From Hell's Kitchen, I'm a Food Network judge. So I think Hell's Kitchen definitely helped me get to where I want to be, with the publicity and the fame of Food Network being able to find me because of everything from Hell's Kitchen and everything that I've done previous and after. That's
a great story, and that's a very good stuff that we hear. Now, let's talk a bit about the show itself, and you guys briefly mentioned some things about the living quarters, that nobody sees that on the air, and you have to almost take a number to use the facilities and things like that. But let's talk a bit about the pressure. I mean, how much of that, the pressure in there, it's extreme. You can see it on TV, you can feel it through the screen, and how much of that pressure, brings the raw talent to the competition. I mean, and then makes you better. You all obviously are accomplished chefs to begin with, but that pressure, does that make you even better once you're through this process?
And who wants to kick that off?
I will.
Okay.
I want to say, let's have the guys agree with me. It's a different kind of pressure. I feel that all of us are culinarians, and then you have. So there's 20 of us. So you have 8 real chefs. You have 6 Mickey Mouse chefs, and the rest are characters. If you guys disagree with me, feel free to chime in. But
oh yeah, I mean, it's 100% I agree with you. I mean, there's some people on there that you go, okay, there's no way this guy's a cook or is a chef in a restaurant.
And part of being in the hospitality industry, you have to have personality. Us being chefs, we need to have personality. It comes out in our food, it comes out in our cleaning, it comes out in our appearance. That's a must. I think the pressure is...
Agreed, yeah. I mean, the personality of a chef. Like, you have, exactly what you said, it comes out on the plate all the time.
So I think the personality is a different kind of pressure. Hell's Kitchen is like a different kind of pressure. You might think, I went in there thinking, I worked in a pizzeria, I worked in this place, I worked in that place. I have all the experience to win this show. And I did. But the pressure is much different when... some of us, I don't have any kids, but some of the other contestants have kids, have a wife. So you're locked in basically a dormitory with 19 people that you don't even know, and you're forced to cook together, work together, sleep together, shower together, basically, brush your teeth together. Some people gag, so you're put in this environment that you're not used to, and especially if you have kids and a wife at home, that pressure really gets you not seeing your kids every day, not be able to speak to that one person. Everyone has an out to release, and on that show you can never release. So it's just building up, and you just sit. The viewers at home are sitting there eating popcorn, waiting for us to explode. And let me tell you, whoever watched season 10, You're welcome. You're welcome, guys, because without season 10, no offense, there would never have been 11 and 12 and 13. Season 10 was supposed to be the last one. We gave them so much drama and violence that they were like, why are we going to take the show off the air? And now the show's just getting better and better, different challenges. Good. These guys had it better than me. Now, season 10 was supposed to be the best, the biggest one, the last one. These guys are dealing with experiences and getting rewards that I wouldn't even fathom about seeing.
Okay, now our listeners are going to kill us if we don't ask this question, and that is about Chef Ramsey. Is he actually as tough as it appears on the air? Is it better or worse when you're there in person? And I'll tell you what, Frank, why don't you answer this first?
Well, how I like the kitchen, I mean, I'm used to, like, chaos. You know, I like to organize chaos. I like the screaming back and forth. So, like, I think every chef is used to that environment in that sense. So, I mean, somebody else watching it from, like, that's not in the industry, that hasn't been the waiter, that had, like, a plate thrown at them, they're kind of, like, taken back by it. But, I mean, Chef, he does take it to another level, but that's why he is at another level. You know, that's how I look at it. And he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Absolutely crazy, but it's a crazy any chef could get along with.
Richard, what about you? What's your impression of Chef Ramsey?
Well, you know, I mean, listen, I've been doing this for a long time, and I worked for some European chefs, and I've worked all over city Chicago. And I mean, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're throwing stuff, but it, like Frank said, it's a whole different level. You know, you sit in this kitchen and you're just waiting for that blow up. I don't care. I mean, come on, we all cook scallops in our lives. We all cooked risottos 1,000 times. How is it possible that we go on TV and cannot cook these dishes that we cook 5,000 times? Okay, it's your body tenses up, your mind goes blank. You know, because you just don't want to get on those crosshairs. You know, you don't want to get in his crosshairs and have him blow up at you. But outside the kitchen, like I said, I mean, my best part of it was having to doing the sit down with him and doing one-on-one. And great guy. And how do you question his abilities and his success? I mean, you can't. So I mean, obviously, you know, he's a fantastic chef. I've learned stuff from him on that show that I probably never would have learned anywhere else. But I mean, you know, the pressure is immense. It's you know, you're done with service, then you got to go upstairs and fight about who's going to go home, and then when you're done with that, you got to fight about who's going to get in the shower first, and who's, you know, so it's a constant battle.
Okay, so Robyn, tell us, what's your impression of Chef Ramsey and Tough Love?
My impression of Chef Ramsey is totally in the kitchen, intense. He wants everything perfect, and that's fine because that's the way I run my kitchen. Outside the kitchen, I want to call him a crusty marshmallow. Like, the first thing when I saw him, I was like, wow, he has really big feet and big hands. That was like the first thing I noticed. And his tight black pants. I'm like, really? And I don't even go that way, guys. So I'm like, okay. And there's this intensity and the passion, and you just see in his eyes the passion that he has for food. And the passion that he wants to instill in us and want us to feel. That's all intense. It's like, when you disappoint him, I feel like I'm disappointing my dad, you know? But outside, crusty marshmallow, goofy, laughing, totally not what you see in the kitchen. Like, in the kitchen, he's Chef Ramsey. Out of the kitchen, you have to call him Gordon. Like, it's a must. He doesn't want you calling him Chef or Chef Ramsey outside the kitchen. He wants you calling him by his first name, Gordon. And I respect that. He knows how to separate both.
That's very, very good. That's interesting to know. Very, very good point here. Guys, I'd like to ask you, you know, some of our listeners may be chefs in restaurants or sous chefs or owners of restaurants, and they'd like to, you know, throw their hat in the ring for any kind of competition, whether it's Hell's Kitchen or any kind of Food Network competition. What advice do you have for these guys to try to get prepared and to get ready to compete and potentially win whatever contest or television series they would get in? Frank, you want to get us started?
Sure. First things first, if you're going to do a signature dish, make sure it's your signature dish. That's number one. Number two, I mean, you got to prepare. If you're a chef, you know how to cook. You got to prepare mentally for it. You really do. Because at the end of the day, it's just cooking, but you have a lot of pressure. Like as we discussed with all shows, I mean, Hell's Kitchen, it's an understatement because you have so many different elements in there. It is like an ultimate contest. It really is. But if you're not a cook, you're not a cook.
Good. Richard, what about you? What advice do you have for these guys?
Well, I agree with Frank 100%, man. Know your signature dish and make sure you know it backwards and forwards, and always have a backup. That's for sure. And number 2, be yourself. Bring your personality. Bring your big life. That's what they look for. They want the people who go on TV and wow other people. They want the recognizable person. They don't want somebody who's going to just blend in the background and kind of fade away. So be yourself. Come on, we're chefs. We got 3 things. We got egos. We got a little bit of craziness. And we know how to cook. If you bring all those 3 things to the screen, you're going to get cast.
Love that answer. Hey, Robyn, what about you?
I agree and disagree. I haven't been watching this season. Sorry, Frank. I need to watch your first episode. I need to watch the signature dish about.
Oh, you do.
I think that first, about the whole reality, don't judge a book by its cover. It's not always what it seems like on any competition show. It's not always what it seems like. Second, about the signature dish, knowing it out. My signature dish on Hell's Kitchen, that was the first time I did it. So
that's a secret.
I scored the first point for the women's team. So I think that doing what you know is good, but a whole part of doing this is pushing yourself to the limits and stepping out of your realm. Like Justin, who was a runner-up to my season, everything that he did in that competition, like we fought the whole competition, but everything he did, prepared, he stepped out of his realm. He did something that he's never did before. He pushed himself to the limits. And that's that's how I did it. And that's how I lead. And that's my advice to anyone, that if you're going to go on a reality competition TV show or any kind of competition, just think to yourself, who else is doing it? This is the first time that I'm doing this ever. I've never experienced this. Once in a lifetime opportunity. So you want to grab it by the horn and ride it. You want to push yourself to the max because you're going to look stupid no matter what. No matter what.
Go big or go home, right?
You're going to look stupid.
Go big or go home.
Exactly. Go big or go home, and that's my motto. Always been.
Okay, so we know this is edited down into, that hour that obviously we're clutching our popcorn and in front of the screens watching, but how long is a day? I mean, these are long, extraordinary days of shooting, and that pressure is not just compacted, correct?
The cameras never stop rolling.
Yeah, 24/7.
Always on you, 24/7. Your mic comes off when you go in the shower. It gets put back on when you get out of the shower. It gets off when you go to sleep. When you wake up, that's the first thing you do. You grab your mic.
Wow.
How did you? Go ahead. No, I want to hear that little thing you were about to tell us.
Well, I got into an argument at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning with one of my cast members, and I wasn't wearing my mic. You didn't need a mic. I was screaming loud enough that I woke up the whole dorm room. You didn't need a mic. But I still got told, Robyn, go back and get your mic.
How intrusive did that feel, Richard?
You know what? You, the first day or two, it's a little weird, but after a while, it just becomes a part of your body, the microphone, and hearing the cameras as you sleep or try to sleep. And as far as the days, I mean, you don't know the days. You don't know the time. Unless somebody has a watch, you don't even know when you're getting up and going to bed. You just know that you had enough and you're tired, so you go lay down. But
wow.
Did you guys find yourself talking into your mics when you got home? And there was no mic.
Oh yeah. Hey, all the time.
Band-Aid.
All the time.
The Band-Aid. I need a red line.
Oh,
that's funny.
That is great. These are some wonderful stories from your experiences on Hell's Kitchen, and we are just having a great time. Just remember, this is Eric and Robyn Gagnon. We're from We Sell Restaurants. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. Take a quick moment. Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com. We Sell Restaurants. Follow us. We're on Twitter at Sell Restaurants, and we're answering your questions there. And, of course, we're on Facebook at Facebook.com. We Sell Restaurants. We Sell Restaurants is your industry authority and source for information about this exciting business, and we are the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robyn Gagnon. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more from the contestants of Hell's Kitchen.